What's up, everybody? So the night of the guild leader interviews continues. Back on my show for the second time is Doc, guild leader of Abyss. He was here. He was one of the Tryon Game of Day event VIPs, and after he did that, he came over the show, told us all about it. So for everyone who remembers that interview, it's the same Doc. His guild's Abyss, and his guild definitely has one of the coolest looking forum guild tags out there. So hey Doc, what's up? Good to have you back.
Not much, just hitting along with the beta, so that's going pretty well.
I have to say I'm also in the beta right now. It is definitely kicking up. I'm definitely enjoying the Guardian side. So how do you liking it so far?
It's just pretty much an expansion of what I got to see when I was at the Gamer Day, but even just going in and looking at that, and then comparing that to now, it's a whole different ballpark because Tron has actually looked at every single one of those little things that every single one of you all people have submitted, those little question mark things. They've looked at every single one of those and made changes to their game based off of the feedback that they have been getting. So as you've seen, it progressed from Beta 1 to Beta 2 and now Beta 3. The game is evolving as we keep playing it, and it just keeps getting better and better. Like the soul system now, you have so much more customization on your character now than what you did in the previous two. It's just absolutely great.
Yeah, I'm gonna make one last comment because this is all about the guilds and we know we're all going in the same game together. But you're 100. I agree with you everything you said, and I'll be honest. I haven't seen much about it, but I am telling you, if you really look at the details on the graphics in this game, I was standing there just watching the shadows of a fucking tree bounce off the mountain. The details are absolutely unbelievable, and I haven't seen that much about, given the graphics props out there in the MMO world.
Yeah, they really do look great, and if you have a system that can actually crank that thing all the way up to Ultimate, Max Ultimate, it is one of the better looking games, if not, depending on your preference and art style, the best looking game out there that you can actually play right now. There are certain things that people like more about different games, but as an overall feel for a game and the game being built, to me, this art style is one of the best looking games that's definitely out on the market right now.
Yes, I'll definitely second that. The more I sit here and look at it, the more I'm really impressed with the details they put into this world. But enough about Rift, even though we're all gonna be playing it. Doc. So this time around, yeah, exactly. This time around, you get to tell me about yourself, your guild history.
Abyss really started in Warhammer, probably the second big patch that came out when they introduced the Orc Choppa and the little dwarf version of that as well. And we had some hard times in the beginning, of course. Issues and guild leadership change, which is how I got into my position. The main guy actually ended up quitting out and stepping down from his position due to some issues that he was having. But now, just looking back on that and seeing where we were just an in-game guild. We didn't have a forums. We didn't have a vent. We set up a vent. We set up a forums. We've progressed from that. We've gone around from a few different games. We've been in EQ2. We've been in EVE. We've been in just pretty much everything under the sun after Warhammer kind of collapsed. And then, of course, we were in Ion for the couple of months that the game was really big until it started to die down as well. But we've been waiting and looking for another game that would just really grab our attention. And I was like, guys, I found this game. It's called Heroes of Talara. I found it a really long time ago, so we started following it at that point. And it kind of went off the radar, and then it came back. Rift, Plains of Talara, and then it's just really progressed from there. I got to go to Gamer Day. I brought back the information, and then since then, everyone that has been in the guild that has gotten in there after that has just absolutely loved it. And this is the game that we've been waiting for that we're going to start playing now. So it's just to see us progress from back then to now. And then look at our our available options such as voice control and stuff like that, like we have in Vent now, and then the forums, and now we actually have like a full-blown website with our own domain name and everything like that. We've just taken such huge steps to get to where we are now. And then, of course, like you said earlier, we have a custom signature made based off of like the Rift font for Abyss. So it's really neat looking. I'm very happy with the work that Our guy GK put in onto it over there in the UK. Give a shout out to him real quick for just doing such an amazing job on the artwork. And we're going to start getting a little bit more into that. Start with trying to work out a symbol right now, and then put a border around the current flag that we have at the moment. So we'll see how that progresses, and then I'm expecting good things to come from that as well. He's just been doing such a great job with what he's had done so far.
Yeah, like I said, definitely I'll give him a shout out. GQ UK. That your tag for Abyss with the Guardian thing in the background, the colors, the font, it all does look pretty hot. And then, so understanding Warhammer's not that old, 2 years. I've interviewed some guilds that have been gaming together since like 2001. So what what do you think the strengths of Abyss are compared to a gaming community that's been together for already for 5, 10 years? Do you guys feel you're gonna be able to compete with that?
Well, a lot of these guys kind of developed in old EQ. Um, and as far as building a community upon something like that, they have their community there. It's not going anywhere. That guild is, most of them are relatively huge, hundreds, if not thousands of people into those guilds that are just kind of, and they have a core of probably about 200 or maybe 50 to 70 people in each one of those guilds, where, I mean, we can't per se compete with how many numbers that they have that they can show off, but I can say that as far as our group of people who we have, when we have our group of people actually getting into full swing once the game starts, we don't really. It may appear like we recruit as kind of like a Zerg, but that's not the thing behind it. There's a full application process for Abyss. You submit your application, we review it, we make sure that you're pretty much not an idiot, and from there we go and look and see how you behave and act and what you do with rating and things like that. So what we make up for in a lack of numbers, we make up with quality, and that has been a big thing that we've always had. Back in Warhammer, a lot of people will remember us from there. We have held off some absolutely ridiculous odds in keeps. I want to say it was 60, and the last time that I saw before they started to invade one of the keeps in the Shadowlands, the elf area that we had upgraded, was there was at least 250 plus order against the 60 destruction abyss that we had that was actually holding off that whole amount of people. And that was just something that was absolutely amazing that we didn't have the experience of being able to try to attack something like that. And we've had quite a few really cool things happen in Warhammer that still stuck to us now. We have people that still recognize us, the Abyss tag of, hey, those guys were the Warhammer people. Let me know how that goes, what server you're going to be rolling on, because I'd like to be able to fight alongside you all. And that's really cool for me to be able to hear that, and then for the other guys that were there during that time to hear that, and just to know that we were born there and that we had the actual quality of the players that we had, that is what actually stuck around in people's minds. It wasn't that we had so many, it's just that we had a really high quality and a high level of players doing what they could do at their best. We never gave up a fight. We always went in, and we always ended what we started, so that just really stuck around with a lot of people.
Understood. So, is Abyss, are you guys going, number one, do you guys role play? Does your guild have any type of role play going on, or you're just more immersed in the role play offered by the game itself?
We kid around right now. We are going to be a Guardian guild. We are leaning more towards PvP. We're having some internal discussions about that and how that's going to work and how that's going to really play out. But we are leaning more towards PvP. We are on a PvP server right now in the beta, Lotham. Blood Pact is very well aware that we are there. We go in and terrorize the little quest hubs sometimes, which is what we were doing earlier. So we're starting to put a name out right there, and we are just really I've actually kind of coined the term a medium core guild. Medium core standing for, you've heard of hardcore, you've heard of casual. We're not casual. We don't like to be thought of as casual, because casual means you're just kind of getting on and no. You know, you're really not trying to progress towards anything. You're just there to kind of like have fun and not really progress, and it's kind of a social atmosphere. As opposed to hardcore, you're on there like 6 or 7 nights a week trying to raid or do something like that. And myself and as a lot of the other officers as well in the guild, we have school, we have jobs, we have lives. A lot of the people in the guild have kids and or have a full-time job. That's perfectly acceptable in our guild, and what we really strive to be is highly active and progressive. If someone's not on for 2 weeks and doesn't let me know, they kind of get booted out. I do send them something in the game stating that if they do want to join back, that they can join back, but you lose all your privileges that you had, so you kind of have to work that up again. So as long as someone lets you know that they're kind of going out of town or something like that, that's perfectly fine. And it's really around the 2 week mark. So we really strive to have really active players, really high quality players. That way if someone gets on, there's someone to play with. You're not just one out of 300 people, and those 300 people might log on once every 2 months or something like that. That's not what we are. We're highly progressive, highly active, but at the same time, we all can't be on 24/7. So that's where the medium core comes in.
Gotcha. See, now I thought you were going to tell me your guild was all about softcore and hardcore porno. I never heard of casual. Nah, I'm joking. But what? So now that you guys are in beta, you've been in beta 1, 2, 3. You have been down at Tryon Gamer Day. What do you guys like best about Rift?
Everyone's pretty much really excited about the amount of customization that you have in your soul now. They liked it before, they really like it now. The dungeons, that's a big favorite of a lot of people over in Abyss. These dungeons, especially Realm of the Fae, if you haven't done that yet, go out and do it. It is absolutely awesome. And from what I got to do at Gamer Day, I saw the Realm of the Fae, and then I know what the later levels are going to look like as well. So what we see now, comparing that to the later level stuff, it's getting better and better and better. So it was just really great to get that glimpse at Gamer Day of the level 25 dungeon, comparing it to the lower level stuff that we have now, and just seeing how it doesn't get easier. It's not the same thing. It's always different. It's always fresh, and it's going to increasingly get harder as we go up, but not to the point where it's impossible, but to the point where you have to know what you're doing, which is good because it actually keeps you awake at your keyboard, as opposed to like where I was playing EQ2 before. I could actually fall asleep trying to play a dungeon in that game because you were just sitting there smashing buttons over and over. This makes you pay attention to what you're doing, and it's a whole lot of fun, and especially the first time you go in somewhere, trying to figure out what you need to do, and that's definitely a big pull for everybody in the guild.
Gotcha. And then understanding, I can see that you guys are pretty enthusiastic about Rift and whatnot. Is there anything your guild doesn't like about Rift, or that you think if the devs are listening, they should definitely take a second look at?
Right now, we're running into a big issue with the PvP. Now, what we have right now in the game is very, very basic PvP. A la kind of World of Warcraft. There's not much beyond that. It's just kind of open world. That's a big minus for us on a lot of other PvP guilds. What we have in there is what we're getting. As of right now, that is what we're getting. So our big thing is we are trying to push as hard as we can to get them to add some complexity to the PvP in the game. Have them add something that tells people, hey, you should go out and do this because you're going to have fun doing this, and there's a reason to do it. Because sure, chaos is fun for, I don't know, say an hour, but as we've been doing right now in this beta event, it goes to show that that's not enough. Chaos is not enough to keep you entertained. You have to have something that's going to provide meaning to what you're doing. Like Warhammer. You had the keeps. You could control them. You could go and do stuff to them. That was even kind of a little bit shallow on its own, but it was much more than what we've been able to see in an MMO since Dark Age of Camelot, which really hit the nail on the head. So if anything in the game that's really lacking right now is the PvP in it. The PvE, as far as the dungeons and stuff goes, is great. We really like it. We're enjoying it. The PvP is very, very lackluster at the moment. That being said, we haven't done the war fronts, which really felt, at Gamer Day, really felt like a lot like the Warhammer scenarios. But that in itself, that's not enough to keep a PvP server going full steam ahead, because, I mean, after people get tired of doing that, why are they going to stay around there on that PvP server when they can go to a PvE server and have a whole lot less hassle trying to get something done? So that's a big thing that we're running into right now. We are putting as much advice forward as we possibly can right now. And I really hope that a lot of that gets looked at and heard, and something starts happening to that, because there's so much opportunity to expand upon what's there. I mean, we have footholds, and recently in I think it was beta 2, they just introduced that you have Defiant and Guardian footholds. The possibilities just stemming from those two things right there is just absolutely amazing. The things that you could do, the things that you could accomplish, what you could actually put into the game. And I do want to remind everybody that Trion is using a very new and improved system that allows them to add things in the game as long as you have it on your hard drive already on the fly. Like these riffs, they come out of nowhere on the fly. So if you have the textures pre-cached on your hard drive already, they can make something happen right there in front of your eyes. So they could essentially add a mountain in front of your face, potentially, if they wanted to. So that, in hand with the footholds, I mean, you just have so much there at your disposal. It would really be a shame to see that not utilized in the PvP section as well.
Understood. When I was just over in reference to the war fronts and everything, and it also seemed that there was going to be, it looked like individual war fronts or individual quest or missions for PvP purposes. You know what that's about?
From at least what we see in the game right now in beta, there looks like there will be some quests and definitely dailies to do with the war fronts. What I did at Gamer Day was a team-based, just like I said, like a lot like a scenario. I don't know how many people versus how many people, but those were individual for those people, those two teams. And you could, it runs a lot like an instance. It's what it is instance PvP. So that's just a little bit of something to kind of do. It's definitely something fun to do, especially if you're just out doing a quest grind and kind of just going through the chain and you want to mix it up a little bit. Pop into one of those, do it. You're going to have some fun with it. You're going to get rewarded for it. And hopefully later down the line we can start seeing or hearing about some PvP rewards or some of the armors and things like that. And they still really haven't released information on the PvP souls, so that's another big thing that we can look forward to hopefully soon. So going off of all that, it would be really great to see them really start releasing information about those, but yet again get more into the open world PvP section, because instance PvP can only give you so much.
Understood. Understood. Do you guys, do you think the PvP server should be free for all PvP, meaning that Guardians can kill Guardians?
This is kind of something that Scott was joking around with while we were there. I really do agree with what he said. It's something that would be fun to have a server as for a month, but after that, really you're not going to have anyone there anyway, because just the way games have progressed and MMOs have evolved over time, we can't have, say, like another Darkfall or another Ultima Online. It just doesn't work like that anymore. I mean, gamers have evolved, they've gone to different things, for good or bad. I mean, we're getting to the point where we need more than what we had. We can't just rely on open chaos in order to do something. So that being said, the it would be neat for a server to have that, maybe for a limited amount of time, like Scott was joking around with. But as far as a long-term server, any game that has came out in the past 5 years that has had that, that's one of the first servers to die off, because there's just no one playing it.
Doc, Doc. I'm gonna interrupt you there. Honestly, that's 100% wrong. Samaria server on Age of Conan, the, roleplay PvP server, open world PvP, meaning anyone can kill anyone, is to this day still going strong, and that server was probably their money maker for the longest time. I think on the roleplay PvP server, an integral part of that server is to have the free for all PvP, because it makes people aware of the whole game and forces them to be aware of the roleplay that the players have created. I think people who are afraid or don't like playing on a free-for-all PvP server, it is what it is, but if I don't know, I can't see why they couldn't just have at least one free-for-all PvP server. I disagree that it would die.
It worked in Age of Conan. I really actually had forgotten about that, because it was just labeled a PvP server on Age of Conan when we were looking at that. And I think that was also another thing that kind of led to that being a little bit more alive. But as far as like Rift or something like that, where you have factions set up and you're constantly around people in that fashion, and then you automatically have the invasions and stuff, it's not there anymore. a lot of people have said a lot about it. I mean, you can go on the forums and stuff, and it's just not something that's real cost beneficial for them to do, as far as if right off the bat. If there's steam for it and it grows, put it in there. More options is always better. I mean, there's no reason to have less. And when all that does is just reduce people's options, people that would want to play the game. But starting out, I mean, this is a new game for them. It's their first game that they're putting out on the market, and there's just not a lot of steam for that. There's no real reason to put it in right now. But it's something that they could definitely do in the future, like they've talked about a quote-unquote hardcore server that they could possibly do at one point in time. Something that they could possibly do. More choices. I'm not condemning any one certain thing, but just as far as any really aside from Age of Conan, I'm thinking about like Vanguard and Ion. I don't know if they had one on that or not, but they
Yeah, they
really
didn't
went
even.
down pretty quick.
They didn't have a free for all. I think Ion would have, if they would have had a one server just dedicated to role play PvP free for all. I think that server again would still be alive, because the problem is the gankers quickly are the ones who get weeded out when you have a role play PvP server. It's people sticking together, and we're going way off base, but I can see your guild, you guys' opinion on the free for all PvP, and essentially you guys don't support it, and that's cool. Everyone has different ideas, but going forward, Doc, gonna wrap this up. You have any closing statements? Anything you want to put out there about Abyss?
We are actively recruiting right now. Our website is abyssmgc.com. You can go in there, put an application. We'll look at it, review it, kind of see what you had to say about yourself and how you answered the questions, and then go from there. We are pre-recruiting for the release. We are going to be Guardians. We are debating on PvP right now. Probably going to be, but not 100% sure at the moment. But we are on the server Lotham. We will be there as long as that server is up. So in Beta 4, if it's still up, we are still going to be on Lotham as well. So anyone that's listening right now, you're more than welcome to drop by the site, look at it, throw an app in. You can get on the server, you can drop by, you can group up with us, send Doc a tell or any other Abyss member. We'll add you up in a group, we can go PvPing and kill some people together.
Sounds good. Now I have to ask, Abyss, MGC, what's the MGC stand for?
Multi-gaming community. A lot of the people, which is really how Abyss has stuck around for so long with the slew of MMOs that we've gone through, is that our core, as we do play Abyss, we have other games that we have played together in the past, Killing Floor and different things like that. We like to play multiple things at different times. The big thing is that Abyss is new, or Abyss isn't new. Rift is new, and we will be hitting that hard for sure. Every game has its downtimes a little bit. I'm sure Rift probably will have one at some point in time, but we're not just limited to Rift per se. We do like to get on and do some. We have some people that like to play Minecraft. That's all good and fun for them to go and do. We play Killing Floor. We do many things. So it's not just specifically one game that we have right now. And as far as MMOs go, right now the only one we are supporting is Rift itself. That may change in the future. It just really depends on what people want to do and how many people we have that want to do something else. But we do support people going out and playing other games, just as long as you're active on the main game. And we have other people that like to do the same thing. So we're just ready to kind of do whatever it takes to keep people together. And a lot of people like to just kind of branch off and do a little thing maybe once a day or in between the beta times. A lot of people have been doing Minecraft again, so that just keeps people together, and I just like to tag that on there as well, because you never know, there may be another MMO that comes out and we branch off into that, like before we were doing Ion and EQ2, so it really stuck out then. But as far as right now, it's just mainly Rift, and then in between the betas we go and play some different things.
Excellent, Doc. Doc, thanks again. Everyone heard it. You're looking for a great guild that's going to be playing Rift? Check out abyssmgc.com. And Doc, you have any songs you want me to put out there? Special requests for your guild? Anything?
Oh goodness, I always forget to think about this every time you ask me. I guess just put it on random and see what we pull up. Get us a good fight song going on so we can go slaughter some Defiant to it.
Sounds good, Doc. Thanks again, and everyone hang tight. Listen to this good fight song coming up to Guild Abyss.